Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing my Warlock build. Currently, if I really push it with my cards and my Sigils, I am at 590k DP. So yeah, first my skill build. So for PvE I'm mostly using this, which is just all in int and then all luck and then everything just index just for the highest magic attack possible. So this is my M attack, MP attack when I'm on PvE. And this is my ignore defense, which I feel is too low for TOC hell. My M damage bonus and my M damage. It goes even higher if I'm using the Genesis pet. And then my PvE stats. So first, just take a look at my Verus, which is not the best, it's just alright. It's just element insight, holy light shield and mana link boost. Basically I'm using one skill on each Verus because crisis resistance isn't really the best. It's alright. Fiery Hunt is just there, you don't use it other than in Dracula. And Meteor Storm prediction module, it's completely useless because you never cast Meteor Storm manually. So this is my Nexus loadout. I'm running Elemental Orb, which is a must for any build of the Warlock. If you're going with the Fire and Wind, you want to go for Blazing Spark as well as Teleport. If you like to play a little bit more crowd control, you can go for the Glacial Quake. I'm keeping Glacial Quake on this preset because I like the flexibility of being able to switch builds whenever I feel like it. And I feel like it doesn't affect too much. For the last one, I'm just running Undaunted for more non-status damage. So moving on to the modules itself, for attack, Warlocks have it actually pretty easy because for our type E, we technically only have 3 very important things that we are looking for, which is ignore MDef, M damage, as well as PvP damage bonus. The fourth one, if you can get it, it's good, but it's not do or die. I feel it's not as bad as for melee, where you have to get crit damage or crit and all that along with your P damage and ignore P def. So it's more straightforward if you're playing a Warlock. Most importantly, you want to get Sharp Mind on your type E, and I recommend actually going for the the Vision, because this affects your reading spellbook. If you're low on resources and you can't roll stuff like me and you end up getting deduction, it's actually quite useless because both Comet and Chain Lightning are AoE skills, which is your burst. However, if you do end up getting the induction, it's pretty good because it's just a flat 2.5% damage to all your skills in the reading spellbook. For the novice effects, I would either be looking for lucidity or duplicity, because most of the time you're gonna be using teleport a lot, and just getting a buff every time you use teleport just makes more sense than going for audacity to me. So for the smaller modules, which is these, I'm running 2 M damage and 1 ignore M def. I'm planning on making another set to change it to PvP damage bonus in the future, but this will have to do for now because if I change this to PvP damage bonus, I'll be losing a lot of damage in my PvE dungeons such as TOC and all that. I'm keeping one of the type D, I think, the one slot Nexus on ignore MDef, because I feel like the MDef of the TOC hell mode is really too high for me, and I'm not doing as much damage as I want to do. So the best way to increase your damage in TOC hell is actually to increase your MDef instead of your M damage. But if you want to increase your damage in like just MVPs and stuff like that, you definitely want to go for M damage over the ignore MDef, because if we take a look at the MVP, even the Mutant Dragon only has 511 ignore MDef, so I'm like more than double of the MDef ignore MDef that I need. So for the defense modules, it's a little bit more straightforward because the defense has a lot more good stats that you can actually make use of, which is PvP damage reduction, M damage reduction, melee P damage reductions for our case, because even their range attack counts as melee if I'm not mistaken. P-Def and M-Def all helps you, and all of these stats are good as long as you get wizards and knights. These are one of the two most popular classes in PvP. Blacksmiths are pretty popular too, but not as common. So for damage reduction, I would just keep knights, wizards, blacksmiths. For the skills of the defense Nexus, it's a lot easier because the master effects both are very useful, and they both work very well. You don't have to worry too much. As long as you get one or the other, it's fine. And then for the expert effects, I actually like the Vivacity for PvP because it just allows you to be a lot tankier when someone CCs you, and then you're stuck there, you can't do anything, but you're just a lot beefier and harder to kill. Another one for PvP would be the Calamity, which is taking damage. You have a 10% chance to inflict the attacker with -5 P attack or M attack. So looking at most of the classes in the game now, most of the attacks that people use in PvP actually hit you multiple times, and it's very easy for you to proc this 10% chance. For some reason, people don't like to switch off targets that they're hitting, especially if like the Osiris card is just proc, then they're just gonna continue hitting you. So this one just lets you be a lot beefier and sustain a lot longer than you actually should. If you want something that's more focused on both helping you in PvP and PvE, Equity is definitely the choice that I would recommend because it works both ways in PvE and PvP, whereas these two only really work in PvP. For the smaller pieces of the defense nexus, actually I'm currently trying to reset for PvP, just pure PvP damage reduction, because I personally don't feel that the P-Def, M-Def, or P damage reduction, M damage reduction, I don't feel like these will help me that much in my PvE dungeons, because in Hell mode, if the boss is gonna one-shot me, I'm probably gonna get one-shot regardless of whether or not these three are spec'd for PvE or not. So yeah. So for the support type, I'm actually also just focusing on PvP fully. I'm trying to roll everything for just max PvP ward, just so that I can be a lot beefier and thicker in PvP and be more annoying. Which is also why I'm using the 2-2-1-1-1 setup, which is how you get the most max PvP ward from your support grids. For the skills of the support for Warlocks, I would recommend actually going for this Adamancy, because you get the max SP, which will help you increase your damage using the Master of Magic set, as well as this if you just want to be tankier. The rest are alright, but I guess the one that you should aim for PvP would be Urgency, because most of the time you're gonna be running away from people as a Warlock, and getting hit from behind gives you more move speeds. So when I had this, it actually felt really good because I was running away from people and I was getting tankier from my other stuff, as well as getting increased movement speed accompanied with teleport. It helps you get out of a lot of sticky situations quite easily. So for the PvE set, I completely do not care about the PvP aspect of this build, so you can see that I did not add things like reduced damage from swordsman. I did add this PvP ward stuff because I had nothing else to put my points into, and it gives you free DP, so why not? But the main focus would be just getting all these elemental reduction, which will help you a lot in PvE content, as well as the elemental damage stuff. And over here you can actually see that I did increase my Hercules, which is upon dealing P damage you have a 35% chance to deal 25 increased damage. I'm not exactly sure if it works, but Element inside Protocol says it attacks have a 15% chance to deal damage as if the target's P def is associated with the countered stat. I'm not sure if this means that you are doing M damage based on your target's P damage, or it means that you convert the guy's armor, and you do P damage. But I think it's more of 15% chance to just change the guy's armor. Same thing as the Thanos Staff passive. Oh, why am I on curse? Same thing as the Thanos Staff passive. So I'm not too sure about that yet, but if I do find out and figure out if this actually works, I'll let you guys know. Of course, you want to add the magic attack, and the reason I have this P attack plus 5% is because of Sigils like Cosmic. Because Cosmic actually takes 10% of the target's max HP, which is up to 600% of your P attack and M attack. So adding the P attack in actually increases the damage of your Cosmic. And then for the rest, you just want to add P def, M def. This is just, yeah. And then the rest is very straightforward. For the lower half, the important ones I would say is just this, in case any of the monsters want to heal. And yeah, that's about it for the PvE set. So now moving on to the PvP set. This one, it's more focused on just getting the defenses up and your PvP ward. So take a look at the top half first. Of course, you want to add these three. I chose to skip the P-Def and M-Def because I just don't find it as important as some of the other things on the Nebula Path. So for the attack side, it's just very simple. I chose to skip the P attack here because I don't use Cosmic in my PvP set because I'm not a whale. Elemental stuff, I only added 2 here because it's not very often that I'm using elemental card. I'm always using mark card because I don't want to get frozen other than Frozen World or Oblivion. And the only class that this actually affects is Warlock, where they transform your armor into the type that is weak against the element that they're using. So this will only proc on Warlocks. But nonetheless, you still need 2 points in this before you can add any of the elemental stuff. So I chose to skip this as well because this one has a cooldown, whereas these two are just flat elemental skill damage reduction, which would help a lot more than this, which doesn't have as much uptime. For the damage reduction from different classes, I chose to actually go for 1 point in everything, mostly because yes, some people may say that there are more Warlocks than some of these other classes, but at the same time I feel that I'm not really getting targeted much by other Warlocks, and I already have this to reduce the damage that they're gonna do with their bursts or just random effects. Other than the Arcase, the next job that kills you the most often is Ranger, but due to the fact that there are so few Ranger spenders in the game, I don't see the need to add this to a higher level. You can also see that I added 1 point for damage reduction from Acolyte. It's because a lot of the FS builds actually add the Holy Word into their full support build, which does a surprising amount of damage. Other than that, you just want to get the 5% reduction from any class, and adding them past level 1 would just be a 1.9% increase, which is not as significant as adding a few points into the other stuff. So the part that took me the longest to figure out, and I'm still not sure if it's fully optimized yet, is this green part, where everything is actually really useful and everything helps a lot, but then again, the lack of available points that we have really makes it hard to properly figure out what is the best combination for you. Starting off here, we have to add this, which gives you HP and SP potion efficiency, which is really sad because it's very important to have Hydras on your build, just to make sure that people who are getting followed around by their FS won't be able to just constantly hit. You will have this moment where you cut their heals and gives you a opportunity to burst them through their AB heals. So the reason I did not max both of the max PvP ward Nebulas is due to the fact that I wanted to have 2 points in this and 1 point in Mensa. So this one is upon taking damage that exceeds 10% of your max HP, you generate 4% of the incoming damage into PvP ward. So having this 1 point in Mensa actually gives you a little bit more breathing room, because most of the time when you're getting burst by people, you're gonna lose a lot of damage, that you're gonna lose a lot of HP and generate this small bit of PvP ward, which will then proc this, which gives you P damage reduction, and then proc this if your PvP ward was broken all along. So you would gain the PvP ward, activate this, and then this would activate again, because most of the time you're going to be running around with no PvP ward. I don't see a need in leveling this up any more than 1, because other than the small chain reaction that you can possibly get, it's not really the best. You're gonna die most of the time if someone is doing too much of your HP and you get a huge amount of PvP ward. You're probably dead to that guy anyways. So maxing this over the one that gives you damage while your PvP ward is active is because most of the time your PvP ward's gonna be chunked down quite fast if you're running into a bunch of people. And the time when you actually need to decide if you're gonna stand in the middle of everyone and continue hitting them, or you're gonna run, is when your PvP ward breaks. So choosing to max this out gives me that extra 3 seconds where I can actually sit and decide, did my PvP ward break too fast, or if it broke at a rate that I'm comfortable with, I can tank this number of people in front of me that's currently hitting me. So that's the rationale behind me maxing this instead of this. So yeah, that's it for the Nebula Path. I hope I didn't miss anything. So now taking a look at my feathers, I actually have 2 sets of feathers which I'll show both. And first off, I just want to say I do not recommend actually going for 2 sets of feathers, because it is a lot more expensive, and for someone who's not a very high spender, I am losing a bunch of stats that I could possibly get from just having all my materials into 1 set of feathers. But other than that, it's very standard. Time space, just for no white in my PvE set because my white aren't high enough level yet. So it's just 12 on the way to 13, and then everything else is 11. For the defense, the only thing that is different from other people that I see, most people don't choose to actually build nature because they use this nature to boost their attack statues and stuff. So they go with divine, night, light, dark. So it's a lot cheaper because you're saving 1 entire feather, but I'll explain why I chose to build the nature later. My defense is all about the same. It's all 999, and the bottom one is 10. So now the main difference in my PvP feathers is I switch out the divine for the night tier, because if you compare the stats between this, firstly, yes, you're gonna be losing a little bit of P-Def and M-Def, which will be boosted by the feather tier set, but the important thing that I want to focus on is the max HP, which the night feather does not have. And as you can see, the max HP that you get from the nature that the night tier doesn't give you is scaling with the tier set effect of the defense statue. And another thing to note is that a lot of the PvP ward stuff actually scale off max HP, like in the Nebula just now, where you take damage based off your max HP, or you gain PvP ward based off your max HP. This extra bit of max HP in every single set of feathers will really add up, and it can make a difference in your PvP ward and your PvP stats. So although I'm losing damage, or I'm losing potential higher tier in my divine feathers, I feel that this is worth, because as time goes on and the game is giving us more and more time and space feathers, you're gonna end up maxing stuff, and having to slowly put in a nature feather and tier it up over a long time just to put it in with your max level feathers in your defense statue is going to be a lot more painful than me just committing my resources and splitting my resources actually, and just tearing them up at the same rate. Other than that, everything else is the same except for the last statue of my attack, which I'm slowly leveling up one light feather until it's about tier 9 or 10, because I feel like I'm lacking a lot in the PvP damage bonus. And having this light feather here also increases my PvP damage reduction, so it's always good to have. It's always nice to have. You can say that it's a little bit dumb because I'm losing out free damage by, like, I'm losing out 3 M attack, or I'm losing out even more, no matter as many feathers as it takes to get this up, because in my PvE set I actually am still using this, so I'm losing out damage. It's just wasted resources being here, but personally I enjoy PvP a lot more than PvE, so I'm fine with splitting my resources and being a little bit weaker in PvE. Moving on to my sigils. Firstly, oh, this was for the fake DP. So now we'll go to my real DP. So for the PvP set, this is what I mostly use, which is floating protection, surging protection. These two do stack together. Gate of Suffering and Immortal Body. So I also use Oblivion because it's just it's too important to not equip. Although you are losing about 5% P damage and damage reduction and a ton of max HP, the ability to freeze people through mark card is just too invaluable. So depending on the type of PvP that I'm playing, if I'm playing in secondary battlefield or if I'm playing in War of Imperium, I will actually switch my Gate of Suffering out for the Deadlock Aurora. So I personally feel that this is slightly better if you are fighting against players that don't kill you that fast, or players that are generally weaker than you, because they're going to take a long time to kill you, and most of the time this is going to just pop back up again. Yes, this 325 PvP damage reduction is going to make you survive longer against those players, but having the ability to heal when your potion is on cooldown, or in the case of Guild League you can't even use your potion, this is really good if there is no AB beside you, and it saved me a lot of times in those instances. So since I'm already on this, I might as well just show you my PvP stats. I'm using this for the PvP damage reduction and damage reduction against medium. I'll just equip my PvP cards, which is just Deviling and Bafflement. So on my full defensive sigils and everything, this is my PvP set. I'm sitting at about 6,000 PvP damage reduction and about 3.6k PvP damage bonus. So this can actually shoot up to 4k plus if I'm using the PvP damage bonus in my Nexus, but I'm not willing to sacrifice that much of my PvE for, so it's gonna have to do for now. Yeah, in PvP normally I use my Vid build, which is very poorly done. It should be okay. I'm just gonna redo it now. So for my Vid build, it would be all int, and then enough dex to make this 100%. So the way I do it is I just press until I see the variable CT stop moving, and then I go down, and then 17, and then Vid, and then because I have extra, I can just pump it up. So this is what I'll use for PvP. So my max HP, oh, I need to change my set. For PvP, I'm using, of course, Thanos and Master of Magic standard. For shield, I'm using the Valkyrie shield for the water and fire resistance, mainly the fire resistance, because there's a lot of fire damage currently in the game right now, and I do need to get this to plus 15. Yeah, that's my PvP stats. So now we'll take a look at the pets, which is pretty standard, nothing too special. It's just a T3 Genesis, T3 Nemesis, Earthlord, and Duel. So Duel I chose over Squidget because Duel on T3 gives you the buff which does It gives you 8% M damage, which is just flat. It doesn't have a cooldown like the Squidget have. I actually wrote for Huan, but I got really unlucky with it and I had to buy it from the PT shop. And I don't think I'll be rolling for T3 on Huan or just rolling on Huan at all. Rocker Bully, but it's really useless, so as you can see the name, it's just waste my money, as well as the Fire Lord. It was good at the start of the game, but it fell off really quickly. So the main reason why I didn't push my Huan or even pull for Natasha B is because of the fact that there is a 60-40 chance, a 60% chance for you to get the pet that is featured, and a 40% chance for you to get a random common S pet, which I feel that it's too big of a gamble, and the price per pet is a little bit too expensive, and just to get it to tier 3 or even 5. But I chose to roll for Genesis and Nemesis because it's a 50-50 chance you get both, and both are actually really good. Genesis scales off your character's stats itself, so the stronger you get, the stronger your pet buff you will be, whereas Huan and Natasha Beta is completely based on your pet's stats. Nemesis is good in PvE as well because it can really save you with the damage reduction, and it just debuffs a lot in PvP. Overall, I wouldn't really focus too much on pets because in PvP, the pets die really quickly anyways. Yes, they can give you a huge boost in the fact that Natasha can increase your damage by a lot, and Huan can save you once, but after that one shield, the pet is mostly going to be dead for the rest of the fight. The only pets that I would actually recommend pulling for would be the Genesis and Natasha B if you are focused on PvE, because in PvE your pets tend to survive longer and they'll keep you buffed up for a longer period of time. But I chose to go for Genesis mostly due to the fact that it's a lot friendlier on my wallet. If I do lose the 50-50 and I get Nemesis, I'll still be happy. So yeah, that's it for my pets. So last but not least, take a look at my Enchants. So this is currently on my PvP set, which is just Beacon, P-Def for the face, P-Def for the mouth, Vid for the armor. I do want to get P-Def on everything because that's mostly the thing that's going to be hitting you, which is RK and Max when they get close to you. So yeah, I'm still changing some of these from Tranquility because back then it was meta to just build crit res and just ignore everyone's crit. So this is also P damage reduction, and this is on Vid because I've not been leveling these up too much. I'm still looking for higher level beacon on my other stuff. My weapon, it's just Magic Boon, Magic Boon, Magic Boon. So now we'll take a look at the PvE, where it's just Wisdom at the headwear, Sharp Battle here, Sharp Battle everywhere where you can get it basically. And the substat that I'm actually looking for is Max SP to increase the damage that I do from Master of Magic. So over here is Sharp Battle, and then for these, I look for as much Max SP as I possibly can. Max SP, and then more Max SP. This is also Sharp Battle, and this goes to M attack. Other than that, there's nothing much left for me to show, and I guess if I missed anything that you wanna see or you have any questions, just let me know and I'll try to respond when I can. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.